Hey guys, in this month's Disney Rewind, we're going to be talking about Disenchanted. Okay, so before we head into our thoughts and feelings on Disenchanted, we're probably definitely going to have some spoilers in here, so you have been warned. I guess spoilers for both movie 1 and 2, I guess, because they all tie in, you know. So, Stephanie, how did you feel about Disenchanted?
I liked it.
Mm-hmm.
I definitely don't think it lived up to the first movie. But it's still good. I just think, like, song-wise, like, you know, every song is very memorable and Enchanted.
Yeah.
And I definitely do not remember any songs from this movie. But, yeah, it was good. Just plot-wise, it just wasn't up there. It was still a good, enjoyable movie.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I was telling her after we watched the movie that I felt like this was a sequel that felt necessary and needed in some ways, compared, because we just recently also watched Hocus Pocus 2, and that felt just unnecessary. You know, like it didn't really.
Yeah, there was, like, the first movie concluded, and and that's all you needed. Yeah. Enchanted concluded too, but you did realize that there could be more. What was their life like? After?
Hocus Pocus 2, it just felt like a cash grab in a sense.
Yeah, because it got massively popular in the last 10
couple years. Just playing, and like that was purposely. It felt like a cash grab and like trying to play with nostalgia. Like, I still liked Hocus Pocus 2, but yeah, you didn't need it. And like this, I felt like there was an excuse to have in Disenchanted, because as they kind of kept repeating in the movie, you know, fairy tales typically end with happily ever after, cut to black, that's it. Well, what happened? You know, so I like that this was playing with that whole idea of, well, there is an after, and sometimes, you know, there's struggle and issues. So, yeah, basically the plot of this one, Robert and Giselle, they've been married since the events of, I guess, the last movie. Morgan is now an angsty teenager, and they have a newborn daughter, and they are moving to the suburbs, guys. And we all know how the suburbs are like. So, yeah, Morgan's going to a new school. She has to deal with mean people. And then even Giselle has to deal with, like, her own type of mean girls.
Annoying neighborhood
like,
moms.
Yeah, like the PTA moms and stuff like that, you know. And then poor Robert has to deal with kind of the monotony of like commuting and everyday life and whatnot. And I love that train. I love that part of the train. They're like, you're going to ride this train for the rest of your life, over and over and over until you die. It's like, I understand it, man. So yeah, I like the movie. Yeah, I still prefer the first one. And yeah, the songs, you brought up the songs are definitely a lot more memorable in the first one. But I still really like this one. And the story, moving to the suburbs and angsty Morgan. And I'm going to tell y'all, I'm going to give Stephanie all the credit for this. She totally predicted the ending.
Oh. So it's kind of obvious.
Yeah. I think that's kind of one thing with this movie, because I've read a few little reviews for it, that it's very highly predictable, which I understand. You know, it's very highly predictable. And it is, and yes, definitely totally picked out the ending that Morgan, she needed to realize that, you know, she's not a blood-born daughter of Andalasia, but she is. She's a daughter of Andalasia, and it's beautiful, and yeah, very predictable.
Even though Morgan was slightly angsty, she wasn't like over the top, you know, like the CW angst.
Yeah.
Like, she was still it was just like more common things, you know, like it wasn't like super annoying, you know, that you understood what she, you know, was going through, and it wasn't like she was over the top and like, you were thinking, oh God, shut up.
Like she was going to a new school, she had to get new friends, she had the clothing crisis,
and she didn't understand like Giselle's fairy tale life thing. Like that wasn't like her, like she didn't understand, like, why was she still stuck in that fairy tale life kind of setting.
Think what it's supposed to be is that when Morgan was a little girl, that was great and all. She liked the fantasy, you know, she liked the fantasy and the whole princes and princesses sort of thing, but she got older and it's like, well, that's not reality, you know, and I think it started to wear on her, and it was kind of irritating by that point for her, you know, and it's like she had to become a child again almost to believe in the tell. You know? I mean, because she got cynical and disillusioned about everything.
I mean, who wouldn't be embarrassed that your stepmom showed up and was singing at the singing outside, trying to get people to vote for you or something.
Yeah, once again, when she was little, if Giselle bust out into song, she probably really liked that. But yeah, as a teenager, it's embarrassing. You know, it's embarrassing, and Giselle don't understand that.
I think for Robert, it's different because he's already older.
Yeah.
Like Robert's he just used to it. He's like he's like, I like you, and I'm just going to deal with it. But yeah, for her, she's
a testament.
She's grown out of that.
It's a testament of their love that Robert puts up with the singing.
I think he probably just finds it amusing more than anything.
Yeah. I like the whole stepmother kind of plot.
Mm-hmm.
I wish they had kind of done it a little bit differently, because I would have loved to have seen Giselle just go full blown villain instead of having like Malvina there. In a sense, I don't know, because I felt like there was too many kind of villains, in a sense.
Yeah.
You know? I mean, I know Giselle, because Giselle's our hero, she kind of needed the villain to work off of. But it's like, I would have loved to have seen Giselle, like, a full-blown villain, really screw things up.
Or the other villain could have been more villain. Mm-hmm. You know, like, I did not feel like, what was her name?
Malvina.
Yeah, I did not feel like, unless I just wasn't paying attention, but I just didn't feel like she was very villainous, you know?
I like the stepmother angle, because I don't think I ever thought about that. You know, that is technically Morgan's stepmother. I didn't really think about that angle.
And it seems like Morgan has never called her that until...
Yeah, she's always called her mother, because even earlier in the movie she was calling her mother, and then she just lets out that stepmother line, and then Giselle's like, oh! Yeah, because in Giselle's world, being a stepmother, you know, the stepmother's really bad. You know, there was something about this movie, even though I liked it, there were times that it felt like it was verging into like Disney Channel movie territory, like The Descendants or something, kind of like a more cheesy sort of thing. If that makes sense, I'm not trying to make it sound like I'm dissing on like those types of movies, because you know I'm trying not to diss on those movies, because those type of movies
have a certain style.
Yeah,
like when Disney, you turn it on, you're like, yep, this is a Disney original, Disney Channel. Yeah, the Disney Channel movies have a certain type of tone and atmosphere and vibe to them, and I felt like this movie was kind of that, doing that, and it felt a little weird because
at times.
Those movies are like extra, like fantastical.
Yeah,
like, you know.
Yeah. Yeah, there's a lot about the movie. I was like, am I watching a Disney Channel movie? Like, not a movie from Disney.
But I feel like that though with a lot of the Disney Plus content coming out. Like these movies, that it does have that vibe to it.
Yeah, I think even Hocus Pocus kind of Hocus Pocus 2 sort of had that
feel. I think it's because yes, they have the budget, obviously, but also they're not going to go full on with their movie.
I liked seeing Nancy and Edward. I wish there was more of them. Nancy and Edward are hilarious together. You know, after we, kind of a bit of a tangent here, after we watched the movie, I was sitting and thinking, they need to do an animated cartoon series, even if it's just a season. They need to do an animated cartoon series that is Nancy and Edward in Andalasia, and what they get up to.
Yeah.
Because before it got to the whole stepmother plot, I kind of in the back of my head was wondering if the story was going to focus a lot more, rather than Malvina. I thought the story might have focused more with Nancy and Giselle's relationship, and Nancy, who was part of the human world, went to the fairy tale world, you know, opposite of Giselle, and I thought there was going to be some sort of little middling factor there of connection between them.
I thought there was too. I can't remember exactly what I was thinking at that point, Nancy, but yeah, I was thinking.
Because, you know, Giselle loves that whole fairy tale world. She loves Andalasia. That is her world. And so I kept thinking, like, there was going to be a moment, like, Nancy, like, it was starting to be wear and tear on her. Like, it was going to be kind of the same as Giselle in the real world, you know? But, yeah, now it's kind of too much for Nancy, and I thought there was going to be some issues with her and Edward.
Because they kind of brought some stuff up, like, when they were just chit-chatting.
Yeah.
And she kind of said something.
Oh, because he said something about a boy, for that one should go to a boy or something. She's like, or a girl. I can't remember the exact line.
Yeah.
Like little things like
that.
Yeah,
there was some other little things. Yeah, that they were just talking about, and yeah, she's kind of like comparing and contrasting stuff, and because I think now it's been a few years, and
more than a few.
She don't hate it.
Yeah,
but I think there's things she probably misses about
the human world.
Yeah.
that the fairy tale world could be too much on occasion, you know. Sometimes, you know,
because it is. I think because she knows that things can be bad at some point, and everything in fairy tale land is happy-go-lucky 24/7.
Yeah, you're either.
So I think that sometimes messes with her thinking, oh, it's not really
because
like
I kept waiting for Nancy to be like, you know, me and Edward, we're always out there fighting evil, bad guys, trolls. But you know, every so often, I just want to sit on a couch and watch some TV or something. You know, like I thought it was going to kind of reach that point. Like she was like envious of Giselle, you know, and then Giselle in turn would be envious of her having that life, you know. So it's like I feel like seriously, Disney Plus. There's that animated cartoon right there for you with Nancy and Edward and Andalasia, and you know Nancy having some problems. Of course, they had to give Idina Menzel her big musical number. The movie was not ending without her having a big musical number.
She didn't have one, and
she didn't sing at all in the first movie.
Now they were like, "Oh shoot!"
Remember when we did our review for Enchanted? We were talking about that. You know, she is a prime top.
I think once
Broadway actress.
Once her song came around. I liked the songs better once it got past the midway point.
Song was probably the best.
I think it was pretty much right when her song maybe showed up, and that's when I was like, okay. And then the other songs were good afterwards. I just struggled a little bit with the beginning songs. They weren't just, to me, they just weren't as fun and catchy.
I think they purposely gave her the best song. They're like, Idina, we're going to apologize for the first movie, and we're going to give you the best song.
Even though you've got 2 cartoons, but that's the thing, they're cartoons.
I liked Patrick Dempsey. He was channeling his inner Edward. I think he was sitting there kind of purposely mocking how James Marsden does his performance. Because like his voice would changed and his just how he walked, how he moved. Didn't even sound like Patrick Dempsey. Like he seemed like he was just having a great time.
They probably just said, you've watched Disney movies, right? And he's like, yeah. And they're like, just do whatever you want and act like that. And he's like, okay.
I like seeing Chip. No, not Chip. That's Beauty and the Beast. What? Pip. Right? Not Chip. Pip.
Is it? Yeah, Pip.
Pip. I like seeing Pip come back. And he got turned into a mean, evil kitty cat.
He's so cute.
That was great. He distracted me. You know, sometimes I didn't know what was going on because I was like,
I gotta watch him on that table because then he'd be rolling and
playing with like tassels or something.
Yeah.
I got so distracted watching him as a cat. I don't know what was going on. Like especially the scroll. The scroll was like
when
giving
that
out.
Scroll came out. I don't actually remember. That
he was giving out all the information overdumping about like whatever, and I honestly don't remember what he said because I was looking at Pip. Yeah, I was looking at Pip playing in the background, rolling around.
Tried to lick himself, and he's like, my brain tells me I have to lick here, so here I go.
I did like Malvina. I mean, she wasn't like evil, you know. She was mostly really under the curse. And yeah, she was just someone who's like vain and selfish, you know, part of the PTA.
She's that mom you don't want to hang with. She's the mom that thinks that she's in control of all the meetings.
Yeah, in control of all the other moms, tell them what to do. But yeah, I like how she at the end was willing to compromise. Be like, hey, you can be part of our group and we can all work together, you know. Like she had her big epiphany, of course. I liked her lackeys. Yvette Nicole Brown always was great.
Even though she was supposed to be.
I didn't know she was supposed to be in the movie either. If you had to rank Disenchanted on a scale of 1 to 10 Mickey ears, what would you give it? It's kind of hard. I think I personally gave the first Enchanted movie a 10.
I want to say
because you looked at me like what
9 or 10.
I think you went for a 9 or 10 or a 9 or 8. I'd probably go for an 8 with this one.
I would say an 8. Is this why we needed to make a chart this whole time so that way I never under or overscore something when I'm like, oh shoot, I gave the first movie an 8. I don't think I gave Enchanted an 8.
Yeah, I think I'll give this an 8. I still like the movie in general and what it was doing and playing with. You know, the whole thing of what comes after happily ever after.
It made sense.
Yeah,
it wasn't a waste.
I mean, it was realistic. Like the things, it was like realistic in a sense, you know, because they had a growing family. They need to go to the suburbs, you know, new school, new jobs, whatever. You know, it's like I liked kind of the realism of all that.
I like that we like completely forgot she had a baby. But there's nothing to talk about the baby.
The baby's just kind of there.
It's there. Just like, I'm a baby.
For plot point purposes.
I'm just here to make the other child mad.
Yeah.
That's all the baby was for.
Yeah, to make poor Morgan jealous. But yeah, I like the movie. It's fine. Now, I don't think we really need a third movie. No. If they did a third movie, the only thing I can think of for a third movie would be Robert and Giselle having some marital issues.
That's what you wanted originally.
That's what when we originally were talking about the first movie and I was kind of guessing about stuff for the sequel, that's what I was thinking. So yeah, if they did a third one, I think it would be marital issues. And maybe that's where the Nancy Edward.
I was about to say, and then Nancy would come in and be like, "Well, look, he called off their engagement because of you." So,
yeah.
So I know what that's like.
Yeah.
But instead of being bitter, she would be helpful.
Yeah. So yeah, I mean that's the only reason I can see them doing a third movie is kind of moving into that next phase of their life where they're having marital issues, and trying to resolve that and get over it, So I don't know, but once again, I'm up for Disney Plus animated cartoon Nancy and Edward, you guys. Be great. So is that it, Stephanie? So you guys, that's it for our thoughts and feelings on Disenchanted. Probably really scattered all over the place, us. But yeah, we liked it in general. It was great. Songs are maybe not so memorable, but it was still fun and entertaining. It served its function, So, you guys, have you guys seen Disenchanted? Did you love it? Did you hate it? If you hated it, that's okay. Just share your thoughts down below with us. So that's it for this video. Don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe. And if you like this video, you may like these other videos. Bye, guys.